What's up, nation? I am currently on my honeymoon, and if this video gets 100 subs, I might get a divorce. Nah, I'm kidding. But seriously, don't tell Alex if I end up making a video. But I am a man that likes to make a deal. And if this vid gets 100 subs, I'm going to be making a video from my honeymoon. Just don't tell my wife. Coming up here on today's show, we got the Raiders' top 5 sleeper candidates in 2025. And if you're wondering, what is a sleeper? How would you define it? It is a player who is undervalued or overlooked. Now, a lot of times when I do this show, because I always do a sleeper video every single off season, I do a lot of times like deep sleepers. For this video, all 5 of these players are going to make an impact, but I want the nation to know that these 5 players are going to make a major impact for this team. I also have them ranked from 5 down to 1. Number 1 is going to be my big sleeper. Now, today's show is presented by Panda Sups, and if you use code Raiders, you're going to be able to save 20% off at pandasups.com. If you spend over $125 and you live in the U.S., you're going to be able to get some creatine for free. It's the products that I use to help me get in my wedding shape, to help me get in honeymoon shape. Now, the players that we're going to be breaking down here are sleepers, and I almost like to think of like John Spytek and Pete Carroll going, shh, don't tell anybody about these guys. Because, yes, they might not be the reason why we go out and win a lot of football games, but I do think that they're going to be the reason why we win a few games. And to me, that is what a sleeper is about. First guy coming up here is going to be Raheem Mostert, and even though I do anticipate that Ashton Jeanty is going to be the primary back, and even though I do think Jeanty has top 5 running back potential, Raheem Mostert is still going to get used, and he is going to be used in the passing game especially. But with that being said, I don't want people to look at what he did last season and think that that's the expectation. Now, I don't expect the 2023 or 2022 seasons, but I do expect a player with home run ability, and somebody that has averaged 5.0 yards per carry throughout his career, somebody that still has legit 4.4 speed, and somebody that has that relationship with Chip Kelly. When you tie all of that together, I do think that you're going to see Mostert probably get, let's say, 80 to 100 touches this entire season. But when he touches the football, I believe that there's going to be a shot to get some big plays. When you talk about running backs, a lot of times the term that I've heard in the past is thunder and lightning. Well, I don't know what Ashton Jeanty is because he's thunder and lightning, but I do know that Mostert still got some lightning in that tank. Let's go to number 4 here for a Raiders sleeper. It's going to be defensive tackle Leki Fotu. And Fotu last year did not really get too much production, but what I really want you to look at here on screen is the size. At 6'5", 335 pounds, with the injury and uncertainty around Christian Wilkins, Leki Fotu is going to be counted on and relied on to be that big body up the middle. Hell, this offseason, Fotu was the person that was stepping in for the injured Wilkins. And I know that the Raiders have a lot of young defensive tackles, and a J.J. Pegues, and a Tonka Hemingway, a Zach Carter, a John Ulalu, and all of those players I have some confidence in. But I do think what the Raiders are going to do is they're going to use Leki Fotu almost in this like John Jenkins type of role where he's going to be asked to take on double teams. He's going to be asked to make other players around him better, including a lot of those rookies. So I do expect a rotation, but I do think that Leki Fotu might not be somebody that lights up the box score every single week, but it's going to be a big-time contributor because he's a big-time human being. Here's going to be the pinned comment on today's show, and I want you to name your sleeper candidate for 2025, somebody that you don't think is getting nearly enough attention that deserves some more love. Let's go to number 3 on my list, and I'm going to go with Jack Bech, wide receiver that was drafted in the 2nd round. I bet you if I would have told the nation, hey, a sleeper candidate was drafted by the Raiders this year and he played wide receiver, I bet you people would have said Dante Thornton Jr. I bet you people would have said Tommy Millott over Jack Bech. I almost feel like the hype around Trey Tucker and Dante Thornton, don't get me wrong, I am leading the hype train on those two guys, and I'm really excited to see what they're going to look like this season with Chip Kelly, Geno Smith, and this Raiders offense. But I almost think like there's been so much hype around Tucker and so much hype around Thornton that it's kind of making people sleep on Bech here a little bit. I'm telling you this right now. His blocking ability, it's going to get him on the field. And he might not be a starter, but he is going to contribute to this team because of the way that you can use him as a physical wide receiver, as somebody like maybe a smaller tight end of sorts. Jack Bech is going to be a contributor, and I do think that people are sleeping on him, but not because he's done anything wrong. It's because there's a lot of other hype going in a lot of different directions. Before I get into my top 2 sleepers on the Las Vegas Raiders in 2025, y'all are sleeping on how awesome of a deal Panda Sups is trying to hook up the nation. If you haven't tried their protein yet, I'm telling you this, it's going to blow your flipping mind. It is the best tasting protein that I personally have ever had. I will tell you this, I have a sweet tooth. And if you have a sweet tooth, I believe Panda Sups protein is perfect for you. Now, if you're wondering, Mitch, well, what has changed? They do have this all-new Fuel Isoprotein and 3 amazing new flavors. And I want y'all to treat yourself to peanut butter cookies, to chocolate brownie whip, to toasted honey graham. 25 grams of protein, 100% pure whey isolate, 110 to 120 calories, 0 grams of sugar, and for a limited time, when you spend $125, you get free creatine and free shipping. How do you get it? Code Raiders for that 20% off at pandasups.com. And I know that I got my whole zip up right now, but I'm telling you this, I have been using Panda for probably the last 4 years, and this is the company that I trust to help me get in shape for my wedding. It's the company that I help trust, get me in shape for my honeymoon. So I loved Panda, and I think you guys will as well. Let's go to number 2 here on my sleeper candidates video. I'm going to go with Landon Roberts at linebacker. And what Roberts brings to the table on and off the field, I think is a big reason why he deserves this credit. 46 tackles last season, not all that great for the Pittsburgh Steelers. But the 2 previous years before that, he had over 100 tackles. And when you listen to the way that Steelers fans talked about Roberts leaving that organization, it kind of reminded me very similar of like how Raider fans felt when, honestly, it kind of reminded me very similar when Steelers fans were freaking out about losing Roberts Blaine. I wasn't going to go with that one, but that's probably the more legitimate comparison. He's been given the green dot, and I do think that he's a sneaky captain candidate because of a lot of those leadership qualities that Pete Carroll really is looking for at the linebacker position. I also know that Roberts is going to try to replace Robert Spillane on and off the field. Spillane had that mentality of exactly what we're looking for in a Raider leader. And, I think Roberts at 30 years old and a lot of the veteran experience that he's had is also going to be able to bring that to the table. And I don't think that he's going to put up the numbers that somebody like Spillane perhaps put up. But if y'all remember names along the lines of a Tahir Whitehead as a Denzel Perriman, hell, maybe even a Vontaze Burfict. And, some of those names we can giggle at a little bit. But I do think the way that the Raiders are going to use Landon Roberts, and I think that the way that Raider fans are going to talk about Roberts is the exact same way that we would talk about a player like Denzel Perriman, who always brings that boom, who always brings that hit stick. If you didn't know, I am literally on my honeymoon right now, and I'm going to be gone from July 13th to the 18th. If you want to see what my wife and I are doing, if you want to see that Panda's actually working, you can give me a follow on IG at MitchellRenz365. And if any big-time Raiders news happens, my guy Jeremy Chuggs has you covered because I promise you this, we will always keep you up to date. If you don't know what his Twitter is, it's at Jeremy Chuggs. I'll also put that for you down in the comments and in the description of today's show. But you know what? Some of y'all are like, quit glazing Chuggs, and let's get to DJ Glaze, my biggest sleeper in 2025. And I'm a big believer that actions speak louder than words. And I'm a believer that John Spytek and Pete Carroll really, truly value the trenches. So coming off a year where he was a rookie, and you can see, these are really solid rookie numbers on that offensive line considering how bad James Craig was, considering how bad Aiden O'Connell and Gardner Minshew was, considering how bad our rushing attack was. The fact that DJ Glaze had a 66.1 overall PFF grade, I think gives me confidence that he's moving in the right direction. But the number one thing that has given me confidence this offseason on Glaze, it's the actions of Spytek and Pete Carroll. They've had multiple opportunities, free agency, the draft, to go get a replacement for Glaze. And what did they do? They decided not to because they're confident in him. And all this regime has done is backed up this young man time and time again. And I think one of the other things that they did that shows me again how confident they are in Glaze is, again, not signing anybody on the offensive line. But they do go out and get Alex Kappa, who plays right guard next to DJ. But the fact that they also went out and got Ashton Genty at number 6. Like, this is an organization that I did not anticipate was going to draft a running back that high. because Pete Carroll hasn't done it before. Spytek hasn't done it before. But I think it just speaks volumes of how confident they were in certain pieces that they had on that line, like a JPJ, like a DJ Glaze, and he's been the solid right tackle for the Raiders this entire offseason, and I hope that we talk about him the way that we talk about other players on that O-line that we believe in a lot, because I'll say this, I think DJ Glaze might be the Raiders' third best offensive lineman behind Colt Miller, behind Jackson Powers-Johnson, and I'm trying to sit up here and say that that guy deserves some credit. So one more time here are our Raiders 2025 sleepers. These are players that are going to make an impact, but I do think that they are being slept on a little bit by the nation and by the NFL world. But here's the thing. I don't want you to tell the NFL world how good and how big of an impact these players are actually going to make. We appreciate each and every one of y'all for tuning in, and even though I am on my honeymoon, I hope that you appreciate the extra hustle Jeremy Chugs and I have done to make sure that you guys get videos every single day, even when I'm on my honeymoon.